biggest cheerleader. There is no way within 3 to 5 to 7 minutes I could do justice to all that my mom is and was. However, I don't have to do that because how she spent her 85 years on earth did that for her. What she did between the dash did that for her. So I won't have to take the time to tell you about the Babalu stories, or the Charlie and Benny story, or the Ellen on the train story, or the Annie and the dry cleaner story, or the Go Up on the Third Limb story, of which I named a musical CD and song after. As you've heard, my mom loved to laugh. There was not one endeavor that my sister or I undertook that my mom and my dad were not there for us. It was because of my mom that you heard Bishop Parsons say about the piano. It was because of her that I took music lessons and learned to play the piano. And yes, I would have to come in off the field early to take my piano lessons. That's exactly right. She loved music and always wanted to play the piano. So she and my dad purchased the piano from Lucibello's on Main and Ward Streets in 1970. And my mother came in and asked me and my sister, would either of us or both of you like to learn how to play the piano? I said yes, and my sister said no because she liked to draw. I had that same piano for over 50 years. Not one Little League baseball game did they miss. Not one concert or art show at Eastside High School did they miss. And when my dad passed, she continued being there for us. She was there for me when I purchased my second car, a 1983 blue Honda Accord. She was there for me when I purchased my first house. She would not miss an episode of my radio show since it began in 2001 and would get up and listen from 6 o'clock a.m. on Saturdays to the live show until her health began to fail. Then she would listen at a later time on my YouTube channel, and she would let me know, I heard your show today. She would call in the early years and she would say, this is Jane. And I knew it was my mom. I didn't want everybody else to know somebody else. She was there in the good times, and my God, she was there for me in the bad times. Only one who never left me, or I left. Only one that stayed with me my entire 61 years, and her entire 86 years since I came on the scene. She would always say, you are my children. If anything went down or anything went bad or anything went good, you are my child. So when things would go bad with me, she would say, you are my child. As you've heard everyone say, she ended every conversation on the phone with, love you much. And as you said, she meant that. Mom smiled despite her physical and emotional pain. The emotional pain of losing her mom in 1983, closely followed by losing her husband in 1985. The pain associated with health challenges caused by diabetes that ultimately led to dementia. Her resilience in the face of adversity is a testament to her strength, determination, and faith in God. My mom was a giver. So much so that as I've been talking with people over these last couple of weeks, I had to question, did I even appreciate my mom enough? People shared with me how she made them feel when she was in their presence and they were in hers. Her smile, her hugs, her words. How she gave of herself wherever she was and whomever she was with. Things me and my sister just knew as, that was Mom. We kind of took that for granted. That's why I questioned, did I even appreciate her enough? On birthdays and holidays, she would always send a card with a check for $10 or $25, and like you, I didn't cash them out because I would tell her, Mom, you don't have to do that, but she would do that anyway. She gave and she loved to give. She was a giver to the very end. Excuse me, one second. I meant to bring this with me when I came up. One day in the rehabilitation center, me and Mr. State walked in, and she was yelling, help me, help me. And she looked at us and says, if it were one of you, I would help you. That got me, because it was true. If it were one of us or anyone else, she would have done everything in her power to help. Even though she was vacillating between coherency and confusion, her mind was still on helping and giving. Prior to her fall, she had told me on the phone that she had ordered me a jacket. It actually is a hoodie. Her original plan was to ship it to me, but as you just heard Janae saying they had gone down, she had asked Janae to bring it back, but it didn't fit in her suitcase. So Janae couldn't bring it back with her. Mom fell about 2 weeks later. Janae is right. Janae got down in February, the end of February. Mom fell the first weekend in March. She never returned home. When she left from that fall, she went to the hospital, to the rehabilitation center, back to the hospital, back to the rehabilitation center. She never did go back home after that first weekend in March. On one of my last visits to her in April before I left, she could barely talk. She said to me, "Don't forget that jacket I brought you." It was barely above a whisper. And I assured her, "Mom, it's in my suitcase. I'm going to take it home with me." She got me again. She was dying, and yet she was still thinking about the gift she had gotten from me. Giving to the very end. The title of her eulogy in Georgia was "A Legacy Beyond the Grave." And my mother is certainly leaving a legacy beyond the grave, as the work she has done has spoken for her. I am sad for us because we're going to miss her here on earth. However, I am happy for her because she is no longer in pain. Amen. As God would have it, the last time I spoke with Mom was on Mother's Day, May 12th, as she transitioned on May 14th. I would have spoken to her on that morning because I talked to the rehabilitation center, but their cordless phone was in use somewhere else around the building, and they never did call me back. When they did finally call me back, it was to let me know that my mom had passed away. God meant for my last conversation with my mother to be on Mother's Day. Oh, how fitting. Mom loved and served the Lord, so there is no doubt in my mind that she has gone from labor to reward. I love you, Mom, and thank you for everything.